What's up, everybody? The ACC SEC Challenge just was announced for ACC basketball. Talk about men's and women's. Now, listen, I understand the SEC might mean more, but let me tell you, this ain't football. It's a whole new ball game for you little SEC fans. Join the ACC to see how we really get down. Let's talk about whether or not the SEC will be able to hold a candle to ACC hoops.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper, joined by Kenton Gibbs of Locked On Wolfpack. Each and every day, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Always excited to have Kenton here to talk us through some hoops and a little bit of football. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We need 1 more 1,000 to get us through the week. That's all we're asking for in a simple times as these. We are in summer season, so we don't have our full every single day episodes, but that gives you an opportunity to catch up. We have 2023 football playlists that we need you to go ahead and get down with because you want to know how your team's going to do this season. We have the schedule announcements and releases. We want you to know what time they're playing. We even have episodes about that. So make sure you're squared away because July is going to be here before you know it, and we'll be in full kickoff mode and ready to go. So all of that good stuff happening. Kenton, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great because we get to talk about the SEC getting knocked down the peg, and they need it after this college baseball World Series. You know, they need it after that because they was feeling themselves too tough. They said LSU fans bought 60,000 shots, almost 70,000 shots at the little bar in Omaha. They said, you know, we got an all SEC fighter. We feeling too good. Well, good. Enjoy it. But now we talking ACC, SEC challenge. And this ain't going to go so well for you, brother.
It sounds like alcohol poisoning. I know I was looking at the little shot challenge, and I'm just saying, like, was everyone good? Like, did everyone drink responsibly? Were Ubers, Lyfts, were those part of the equation?
Let me tell you something, okay? Them folks got drunk as a skunk, but luckily, apparently that bar was pretty near all of the hotels and whatnot in the area.
Praise
that people
God.
staying at. So
look, there's not much to do in Omaha, Nebraska. I've been there for Olympic trials, but let me tell you, that was an insane amount of alcohol.
I mean, yes, but also, you know, LSU was the ones who consumed most of it, and I tell people all the time, everybody swear, oh, Louisiana has a lot of folks who don't like to cut up all that much, and it's only certain areas. Yeah,
Who said that? Louisiana is an open carry state.
No. I'm talking about drinking. I'm talking about partying.
I mean, open drink. There are open drinking. Like you can walk around with liquor in your little cup, and
but
walk around
that's
fine.
my point. But that's my point. I remember somebody told me, well, you know, the owner of the Pelicans, you know, that's an old Catholic one. I'm like, she's in New Orleans. She'll be okay. She'll be okay with whatever Zion got going on. She'll be all right. She's seen worse.
Are you talking about me?
Oh no, couldn't be. You know.
How does Zion and some big booty hoes have anything to do with alcohol?
Wow. The point of it was
because you need to go ahead and get back to basketball because you're about to piss me off.
It was that I was trying to get to basketball, but you was
paying attention
to the wrong miles.
Because you tried to throw it straight and it didn't quite work. In the mood.
It landed right where it needed to land.
So men's basketball ACC, women's basketball the ACC. They're going to face off against the SEC. Normally we have the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Last year the ACC put up a good fight and got the dub. You know, times have changed, TV deals have changed, and it's just a matter of, listen, you got to wheel them and deal them and take them how you get them. This is going to be a great opportunity for a lot of our ACC programs to play teams that they haven't played in quite some time, and I think it's going to be exciting to see where we stand in terms of being the superior, in my eyes, conference when it comes to college hoops.
I agree, but I don't really, to me, like, I understand it. I understand why they stopped doing the ACC Big Ten Challenge, but like that to me was a much better time. Like those were much better match teams. The ACC is about to run through this challenge like some Tomb Raiders, and mark this now. And I want freezer cold takes to see this. I think that the SEC can come close. But I'll tell you this. If the SEC ends up mopping the floor in this competition, I will gladly hold my L. And I'm not talking about they just win by a little. If they mop the floor with this one, I'd be shocked, utterly surprised. If there was a few teams that, with the turnover in college basketball, sure, things change from year to year where we could see a few of these teams in the SEC feasibly, possibly come across a win here. Sure. But if they mop the floor with this thing, I will hold my L gladly. There's no way that happens. The ACC is head and shoulders above the SEC in terms of basketball at this point in time, despite what many people would believe due to the regular season and all that. We saw what happened in the tournament time. We saw what happened when it mattered most. And so with that in mind, I think that the ACC, again, this ain't going to be pretty. It ain't going to be fun.
Well, I think the reason why the ACC and the Big Ten Challenge was so fun was because there's so many more historically gifted basketball programs, right? You got the Indianas of the world. You had Ohio State's come on. You had Michigan. You have North Carolina. You got Duke. You have all these fun schools that definitely are basketball focused. And now with the SEC, who certainly has had, some really strong programs, especially as of late, in the Auburns, the LSUs of the world on the women's side. I think it's really exciting. Alabama's certainly taking on a new role of being one of the top and premier programs. So maybe there is a little to the story. So before we get into this, and we're going to do it this way. We're going to talk about the men's all through. We're going to talk about the women's all through, give our takes, and go on as we may. You're going to tell me who is going to win this matchup between the two programs. So
absolutely. Let's do it.
Cool. So Tuesday, November 28th, we will see NC State take on LSU men's basketball. Hot take, who wins?
And you said Syracuse, LSU, correct?
I said Syracuse, LSU. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, okay. Syracuse, LSU. Syracuse takes that game. Even despite having to recover from Jim Boeheim leaving and all that, if you're not paying attention to what's going on with LSU basketball, to say that it is a crap storm is an understatement. It is a crap storm in the middle of a diarrhea NATO that is inside a globe of oblivion.
Yesterday it was Make It Nasty. Today is a diarrhea. What did you just say?
A diarrhea tornado. It's that bad because everything that came out with Will Wade, I'm surprised that the NCAA did not drop the hammer on that school. I am very legitimately shocked and appalled there. But with that being said, there's so much restructuring going on. There's so much in terms of, not only are you seeing the turnover in terms of what you normally see, you're seeing coaching change turnover. You're seeing the type of turnover where it's like, oh God, on top of the sanctions that were already there could be additional things coming down. And so that's going to be a real tough stretch there. So I think that LSU is not going to be in a good place, even against a team that's struggling or that could potentially struggle to find a new identity or replace Jim Boeheim.
All right, Pitt and Missouri.
Give me Pitt. I think that I think that those Capos gonna get it done. I think that they found a recipe up there for success. They found something that works. They found an identity, not too different from Pat Narduzzi. They have the identity of what that team is gonna be, and it's working for them. Let's see if they can keep it going for a couple more years.
One thing for certain, two things for sure. We do not talk bad about the Capos on this show. You hear me? You ain't gonna hear them a word over here.
Besides the fact that Jason, them suits be big. Them suits be real big. Right. Taylor, brother.
Georgia Tech and Mississippi State. You better not.
I love to give a shout out to a young man that I have adored since he stepped foot on the college campus in Shaq Moore. Mississippi State gets the job done here. I don't think that, shout out to Pastner and the boys, but I don't think that they have anything.
Is fired.
I'm sorry. Shout out to the boys post Pastner. But it's still not going to go well for him.
I got you.
Listen, Coach Pastner, a pastor, greener pastors, don't matter. Bulldogs info.
Notre Dame, South Carolina.
South Carolina kind of got to take this one. Like, this is, it's the way that everything went with Bray at the end of it was so nasty. It was so unfortunate. and then you saw a mass
It was
exodus.
so half-assed.
And you saw a mass exodus of everybody who was half decent over there. So
Yeah.
I think USC has to take this one.
100%. We've got more matchups here to go over for this Tuesday for the ACC SEC Big Chat. ACC. See how I'm trying to throw big in there? ACC SEC Basketball Challenge for the men. We'll talk about that in just a bit. But want to remind all of our fans that if you are trying to do a betting action, you want to make sure that you hit up FanDuel. Take your first swing at betting MLB on FanDuel and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting everything from money line to over under to who you think is going to get the first home run. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet on MLB than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today and visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel is the official partner of Major League Baseball. Kenton Gibbs here. We're talking through our favorites for the ACC SEC Challenge on the Tuesday night of November 28th. The men will kick off at 7 p.m. We have 4 games at 7. Then 7:30, you have Miami and Kentucky. Now, Miami of old, might have said give it easily to Kentucky. But this ain't that. And that ain't this. You're nicely on mute.
Yeah, I think that if we're looking at what Kentucky is, they're always a team that the idea of them is a lot better than the reality. It's just like
lately they're just very beatable to me.
Yeah, and it's you want to believe in Cal, and you thought like this new era of how things are done in college ball would have benefited him the most, and it's just been so blah for Kentucky. And
it's almost like everyone got an even playing field now.
And with that being said, Laura Nega loses 2 multiple absolute impact players off of that team from last year. Is that Laura Nega not Miami's head coach? Like
Jim Larrañaga?
Oh, Larrañaga, Laura Nega, the nerve of me for pronouncing the A incorrectly. Anyway.
Larrañaga, okay. Pasture. Oh, you on one today.
Coach Larrañaga and his crew, I believe, get the job done here. I think that they be the Kentucky team that, again, I just don't know what's up with Coach Cal, but it's been a tough time over there.
Yeah, he had to spread the wealth, and it's just been like, well, everybody's doing it. It ain't really a super standard for me now, so I see it. NC State and Ole Miss.
Oh, NC State gonna whoop the wheels off them boys. That's not really.
Well, good for them. At least they get to participate this time.
Yeah. They last time they participated in one of these challenges, Darian C. Brown went off for about 40, and they beat Nebraska in overtime. So I think that these challenges continue to be good to NC State, and they go ahead and get one against the Rebels.
They always seem to help the challenge, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Clemson and Alabama.
Whoo! Yikes!
Hunter Tyson ain't walking through that door.
Yikes! Coach Oates and company is a tough task. It's a tough task for Clemson. This is going to be some nasty work for Clemson.
I like Coach B, but I don't think this is where we get it done.
But hopefully their discipline can keep this one close, which I think it can. I think their style of play, I think that the way that they focus up and lock in, I think they can keep it close. So you give 3 to SEC and 4 to the ACC so far. We're doing a tally. Got it. Then we move on to Wednesday night for the men. November 29th, we'll have Tennessee and North Carolina face off at 7:15. Our first slate of games, 3 7:15 games. North Carolina and Tennessee, Heels, it's been real. It's been fun. I don't know if this game is going to be real fun. It better be. For whom? It better be for the Rocky Top? For the boys in baby blue. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. This is going to be important for setting the pace of what this team wants to be for the season. Kenton, please. I know end of November, we're going to know who this team is. I promise you that. And here's why I say this is going to be important for setting the tone of the season. And coming into this game, for the most part, you're not going to have seen your peak yet. You're going to have seen you against like some good teams, some bad teams, you ups, downs, all that good stuff. This is the point where you start to officially establish your stride for who you are and whether or not that early season stuff was just a misstep or what. This is the point where this is going to be a line of delineation that UNC has to draw in the sand to say, this is who we are. And I think that they come away, as much as I want to root for the asteroid, because I rooting for them is, ooh. Whoa.
I think we're gonna already know who they are at this point, personally. But I hear you. I hear you, and I appreciate the homerness of the ACC.
I give them a slight edge over Tennessee.
You crazy?
A slight edge over Tennessee. Let me tell you something. I give them a slight edge on Tennessee on paper. However, I think Tennessee wins the game.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna let you have that.
I think Tennessee
Virginia and Texas A&M.
Who? Virginia, the Who's. I believe they were the top team in the Directors Cup in the ACC. They are about to stomp a mud hole in those Aggies. Let's keep it rolling.
Wake Forest and Florida.
Coach Forbes about to give us another lecture, another sermon, another preaching, because he gonna tell us exactly how you don't come into our house and think you're gonna walk away with something nice. I think that they take care of Florida here.
That's fair. Duke and Arkansas.
This game was tough for me. This game was tough because I kind of wanted to say Duke lost a lot from last year, and this feels like it's going to be a push, but Jeremy Roach has been there for forever and a day. Arkansas lost their best defender and the guy who would be responsible in dealing for Roach in the young man who went to the NBA that was their point guard from last year. And also, their point guard from last year was a super facilitator. He was the guy who set the table for everybody.
But Kenton, they're getting L. Ellis.
I like L. I like him a lot. Y'all know how much I like
L. Ellis versus Mr. Proctor. You're not giving it.
Y'all know how much I like. Y'all know how much I like L. Ellis. All but right. I think in year 2, by this point, it's already going to be the Roach and Proctor show. They're going to know y'all two are it, and they're going to figure out that balance by then of like what they need to do to be effective. And I think that they take care of Arkansas here.
Virginia Tech and Auburn.
Bruce Pearl is going to roll them boys. They are going to be blowing no hokey pack down in Auburn. That's just what's going on there.
Georgia and Florida State.
Coach Ham, please.
Give it a fighter's chance.
Coach, but honestly, Georgia's not a good team either. Like these are two.
They're not, but like Florida State's bad.
But if Florida State is healthy, they could take care of Georgia.
I don't care. They weren't firing on a good clip last year. But I always try to give Hamilton grace, but
the team was made of glass. Like who wasn't hurt on that team for last year?
But they lost Caleb Mills. That's tough.
I mean, that is tough, but who from Georgia strikes fear in anybody's heart? When's the last time you thought about Georgia basketball?
Anthony Edwards.
Oh, okay. All right.
Boston College and what is this? Vanderbilt.
It's always beautiful when you get to root against a UNC grad. And I believe Jerry Stackhouse is still the head coach over there.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm.
Oh, what a great time. Go Eagles, go Eagles.
We all rooting for Earl anyway. So
Boston College, y'all should get the job done. I think Vandy's going to win this game. But Boston College, fight, Eagles, fight.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, that's a good crop of SEC people that are going to take that W. But you still think it's going to be a strong contingent for the ACC.
Here's the thing. A few of those games were pushes where I just had to give it to somebody. And most of the games that were pushes, I gave to the SEC. Like, But in reality, I'm thinking a few more of those are going to tilt the ACC's way when that final buzzer is over.
Well, we're just going to have to see. We're talking through ACC SEC challenge women's schedule we got to go here. Does the ACC stand a chance for the men's side? Kenton thinks strongly yes, but will he feel the same way for the women's side of things? this ain't football. And I feel like the SEC just ain't got it when it comes, especially when it comes to women. Defending champions was notwithstanding. Tennessee and Notre Dame.
Ooh, that's going to be a good game.
That's going to be a great game.
That's going to be a really, really good game. But I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to leave it right here. Mm-hmm. One of those teams has a young woman by the name of Olivia Miles, and another team does not.
The Goggle Goddess, yeah.
Liv and company, get it done. We love us some Coach Ivy on this side. We love your son too, Detroit Pistons, Javon. We love you. So we gonna get this one to Notre Dame.
Yes. All right. Georgia Tech and Florida.
Oh, boy. I mean, Georgia Tech went through a tough season last year. Florida was a team that, they felt like they could have got into the NCAA tournament right on the bubble, went on to do great things in the NIT last year. Florida is going to take this one. I think that's Florida takes it tough.
Vanderbilt and NC State at 7:15.
NC State is going to scold them girls. That's not going to be a good time for Vanderbilt.
Miami and Mississippi State.
Mississippi State has taken quite a fall. They've taken quite a tumble from where they were at the height of their powers as national championship contenders and all that. But even still, they're a really, really good team. And this Miami team,
losing the Carpenter twins is tough.
I think that they're losing so much in such a short time that kind of is going to make this a tough sell in terms of feeling confident that they could beat this team. But also, this is a Mississippi State team that was very middling last year. This is a Mississippi State team that didn't have anything special. So with that being said, Mr. Sullivan in the chat, we go show you some love. I got your Canes winning this game.
Louisville and Ole Miss.
Louisville, who gonna score the ball? Who gonna score that basketball for y'all?
Life after HBL, for real.
I mean, listen, we love us some Olivia Cochran on this show. We do. Is she ready to be a number one option? Not sure. Who's gonna be the lead ball handler for that team? But also, here's the benefit in this thing. They have one of the smartest coaches in all of college basketball on that sideline. And on top of that, like you talked about earlier, these games are in late November. So this is not your first game out the gate type of deal. By then, I think that Louisville figures out enough to make this game competitive. Not sure if they win. I want to say it's a push, so I'm gonna go ahead and go against Louisville on this one. I think Ole Miss takes a close one here.
Yeah, okay. Thursday, November 30th, Missouri versus Virginia.
Lord have mercy. Listen,
Virginia clearly had to participate, but they're a better Virginia.
Listen, I was just about to say, Virginia is on the up and up. They on the rise. This is going to be a tough one. I think that Missouri takes it. I think Missouri takes this one.
Duke and Georgia.
Give me Duke. Give me Duke.
Celeste Taylor is not walking through that door.
And here's why I say give me Duke. That team surprised everybody last year, caught a lot of folks off guard with how good they were. They were the best team in the triangle, and Celeste Taylor had a hand in that. She was a part of that. She wasn't the only thing. She was a major thing. Yeah, she was a major thing. But when I look at that team top to bottom, I say to myself, this is a team that shows up and everybody competes on the defensive end. Regardless of who's having a great night, bad night, whatever, offensive, everybody, if you're going to play for Coach Lawson, you're going to get in the stands. And that right there, that'll get you where you need to be.
North Carolina versus South Carolina.
I take so much. I take so much displeasure, so much displeasure in saying this. So it makes me sad. Really.
Okay,
hurts me. Dawn Staley and company by 50.
By 50, I think that's probably gonna be one of Deja Kelly's best games.
Good for her. Gamecocks by 50.
Arkansas, Florida State.
Florida State. I think that Florida State and that young core that they got only getting better, only learning to gel together, only learning to play together more. Freshman of the year last year, most improved player last year. That team is going to be a team to look out for.
For sure.
They get the job done.
Arkansas, Alabama, and Syracuse.
Everybody's going to have fun, you know. I mean, this game is really going to be a push for me. I could send it either way, but I'll send it to the SEC. I'll give it to them.
Boston College and Kentucky.
I think Kentucky is the better team here. I think that Kentucky is. I'll say this: Boston College has the ability to play with anybody. When they're firing at their highest clip, when Dontavia Wagner is rolling and all that, they're really going. They can compete. They can compete and do it with anybody. However, the inconsistency, that team is rife with inconsistency. I think Kentucky gets it done here. Also, I want to make one quick adjustment. I think Ole Miss beats Louisville. I feel comfortable with Ole Miss beating Louisville. Now that I think about it.
Oh, man. You are real you're feeling strongly about the average teams in the SEC as opposed to the ACC, despite the fact that the ACC had the most teams in the NCAA tournament. Just want you to sit back and observe as we go through these last three.
I mean, the thing is for me, when I look at the games where I'm like, it could go either way. I mean, sure, I'll give it to the SEC because whatever, who cares? But if we're talking like who has the better teams top to bottom, I have no doubt in my mind. If you're talking about all of these teams performing at their best, who wins all these games? Oh, I have no doubt in my mind. Boston College at their best whoops the wheels off of their matchup. But do they play their best that game? Don't know.
Virginia Tech, LSU.
Ooh. That's
gonna be a better game than we think. It could have been a national championship game while you playing.
Here's the thing. It's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate that like this game, I don't think is gonna be competitive. And if it is, Kenny Brooks deserves a ton of love for that because you're playing up against the national champs who added one of the most prolific scorers in the country.
But how well do they play together?
But by this time of the season, they should have figured out a little something. They should be gelling well enough.
I think Kenny Brooks is a better coach than old girl. I ain't gonna hold you.
You know?
Definitely a better coach than Coach Mulkey. I'm sorry to tell you. You can wear all the outfits in the world, but can you get the X's nose? I don't know.
Fitz be trash. Fitz be hot.
I'm gonna give you a little national championship. I'm gonna give it to you, but I just feel like
I'll never take away from what her and those young women did, but them Fitz are atrocious.
I also think they got lucky. All right, Texas A&M and Wake Forest.
I think Wake Forest takes a game. I think that
I think it's a battle of the bads. Like
here's the thing about Wake Forest. I think that when you look at Wake Forest and you look at how they like, if it's Jewel or nothing, right? And you say like, oh, she's everything for that team. At some point in time, the other players have to realize you have to help her. She is not out there by herself. Y'all need to do something, fight back, pinch the other team, something. And I think that this is the season where they finally come through and start to help that young woman out.
Clemson and Auburn.
Everybody's going to have fun here. It's another game where everybody's going to have a ton of fun. But that Clemson team, again, Clemson is another one of those teams that I talk about. When they're rolling at their best clip, they are not a bad team. They're like, they have shown the ability to pull off a big upset, to show up in a major way. With that being said, I mean, I think Clemson gets this job done in the Battle of the Tigers.
Pitt is the only women's team that won't be participating in the ACC SEC challenge.
So unfortunate. Somebody's going to be the oddball.
I mean, NC State's familiar, so look, it happens that way sometimes.
Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth now. Yeah.
Peninsula P says Pitt Rex Mizzou.
I agree. Peninsula P, if you was here earlier, we should. Hey,
well, where you been, bro?
Hey, we'll do a lot of things on this show. We'll talk about a lot of people, but them Caples, my dear brother in the bond, Jason, we ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do that. Again, I will refer Jason to my tailor. Let me tell you something now. Them folks in Crabtree Valley, they get you together, brother.
Oh my God.
But that's neither here nor there. That's neither here.
1,000%. Well, that's our ACC SEC challenge. We want to remind y'all, like, this ain't football. The SEC is gonna have to come with it in this basketball realm, because not only are the women, I get you won a national championship, but man, oh man, do I feel like there's a lot of quality all across the board teams on the women's side of basketball. And then with the men, I just feel like the SEC just can't hold a candle really when it comes to the men's hoops.
I mean, listen, I was very generous to the SEC in this, and I believe that the ACC still won both in my estimation here.
I think it's a slight edge for the women for the SEC, but
either way it goes, I was very generous to the SEC, like very generous here. And I still don't. Again, some of those pushes that I gave away, I wouldn't bet my house on it. I wouldn't bet. You
don't like betting in general.
Oh, absolutely. I lose $5 and I'm ready to. That's it. You know what I mean? I'm not a casino guy. That's not me. But with that being said, if I had to put my smart money on the ACC or SEC winning this thing, I would go to ACC all the way in there.
Terrence, we really got to get Locked On Clemson on the show. That's a side. We have not had Locked On Clemson on the show yet, and we got to make sure that happens before football season starts. That's housekeeping notes. Make sure you download, subscribe to the podcast from wherever you listen to podcasts. It's always a vibe here on this side. We appreciate you listening. For Candace Cooper and Kenton Gibbs, until next time.